It's a cyclist's biggest fear, getting doored while commuting on Toronto streets. In a letter to the city, cycling advocates say these incidents are on the rise. I'm Faiza Amin on Bloor near Bathurst. That letter is part of a motion asking the city to take steps in reducing the number of doorings in Toronto.
I was just biking along and he opened the door and I flew into traffic, but luckily a truck stopped in front of me.
I've had experience myself, but I saw another woman thrown off her bike and cracked her head open.
The dangers of these collisions highlighted in a letter to the city and supported by advocacy groups who say an intervention is necessary to curb these potentially deadly incidents.
It's really scary, and people just have to learn how to open the door by, they call it the Dutch, the Dutch way, by turning over like this and making sure you look behind you.
The Dutch reach is something that's taught in the Netherlands. It involves you using the hand that's furthest away from the door to get out. It forces you to turn around to see if there's any oncoming cyclists before getting out. So in the letter to council, advocates actually want the Dutch reach to become part of all drivers' training in Ontario.
It's a really good way to get around the city if it's safe, and that needs to be respected. People are putting their life on the line really to cycle.
The fine for any driver caught dooring is $365 and 3 demerit points, but data shows dooring collisions are on the rise in Toronto. In 2014, 132 incidents reported. That number climbed to 175 the following year, and in 2016, it was 209. Public Health is now getting involved and will be pushing for several changes at the meeting this upcoming week. Among them, that the city asked the province to change Ontario's laws so that drivers are held partially responsible when passengers door cyclists, and to incorporate dooring in training materials, particularly for vehicles for hire like Uber and Lyft, who will also be required to add rear-view mirrors on passenger doors. The Ministry of Transportation says they are open to this conversation.
It is a problem. It's a growing problem. Obviously, as we're seeing, the number of people who are choosing to cycle, whether it's for commuting or for recreational reasons, has grown over the last number of years. We know that this continues to be a challenge, and often the result of a dooring incident can be quite tragic. And so we want to make sure that we have the right kinds of sanctions in place, and that we're working with all of our road safety partners. It's why I'd be open to the conversation, but just to stress, the province has already made the penalties tougher for dooring.
It's something everyone should worry about, because if you do get doored, it's very dangerous.
In that letter, advocates are also asking that the motor vehicle accident report system also incorporates dooring so the data is more accurate. This dooring motion is expected to go in front of the Public Works Committee on Wednesday. On Bloor near Bathurst, I'm Faiza Amin for City News.